Alrighty guys, it's Hunter Oakley here. I'm back with another video. It's week 5 of commercial dive school done and in the books. If you're not familiar with who I am or what I'm doing, I'm doing like weekly recaps on my commercial dive school up in Seattle, Washington. It's called the Divers Institute of Technology. So if you haven't seen any of the prior videos, go check them out. But this week's going to be all about what I did on my 5th week. This is the start to intro to lightweight is what we started on Monday. So we did a lot of notes on just the basics of diving and kind of what we need to know about little things like your hydrostatic date and stuff like that on your bailout bottles, and when it should be annually tested and all that. So we took a test on that. Monday wasn't too crazy. And then Tuesday we set up our first stage regulator. So there's a PSI rating that you have to go in between to set up your first stage regulator. So because ours are brand new, so we had to make sure that they were set up correctly. Then did some notes, a lot more notes. And then kind of went around the campus and he showed us how to fill bailout bottles from the high pressure compressor, and then it goes to high pressure bottle, and then you can fill them up that way, or there's a couple different ways you could fill them up. And then Wednesday we finished up our first stages because we had to go to a different room and they were testing in that room, so we couldn't finish what we had to do. And then we did our swim test. That was pretty eventful. They just chucked us into Lake Union, and half of us didn't know that we were going in the water that day. So I had really just a t-shirt on underneath my dry suit and some like little leggings that I had in my backpack for running. But it wasn't actually as bad as I thought it was going to be. So we jumped in, hung out there for a second till everyone got in the water, and then he kind of messed around. We had to do some somersaults with our dry suits on. That was kind of eventful. And then we had to just swim to the barge and back and make sure that we were comfortable. And then we also had to do our shell breathing test that same day. So it's basically simulating if your hat breaks or anything goes wrong, or your face shield and there's water in the hat. There's the inlet that comes in from your second stage regulator. There's like almost a nut inside the hat, and you kind of have to put your mouth up against it and breathe off that for a minute and a half underneath the water. And some of the kids, a lot of the class actually did fairly well. A couple of the kids struggled, or not kids, but guys, struggled a little bit because it is weird. It's cold, and if you've never scuba dove or anything, been underneath the water breathing, it's a whole different world. So you don't have goggles on, nothing. So either you open your eyes underwater or you just keep your eyes shut. It's dark. So that was kind of strange. I did really good. I just got cold. It's like a major brain freeze down there. Like at a 45 seconds, probably halfway through it, you're like, man, it's cold. But yeah, so I'm stoked. Our class did really good. And then we finished up actually kind of early because our class did so good, and we got to set up and redo a whole umbilical. So he showed us how to do that, which is pretty interesting. And then, so that was Wednesday. And then Thursday, he showed us how to do your pre-dive checks for the hats, and also for putting them away. And then we did a dry dress. So we set up our, put on the hats, everything. Each student in the class got to dry dress and then do a bailout procedure. So as in case an emergency happened, but we were obviously above the water, do a bailout procedure. to your bailout tank. And then we also set up our harnesses. Each instructor kind of sets theirs up differently, so we kind of, for now, we just have a general range of what we're going to do and where we're going to put things. But the one of the instructors gave us some really good advice and just said, you know what, you do. He's like, go look at all the good divers around the school, guys that have been in the industry for a long time, and do what they're doing, because obviously they've been around it long enough and they've taken stuff from their mentors. So that he just told us, if you see something that looks like it's a good idea and it'll work for you, try it, and if it doesn't, then switch. So we kind of just got a general idea of how to set up our own harnesses. And then we did a pneumo drill. So it's where, in case your last line of defense of air is your pneumo, to get air while you're down there. Say your main umbilical gets cut, but only your pneumo is still there. You shove it up inside your hat to get air. Because, I mean, if you run out your bailout, somehow your main air is cut off. Maybe there's a slice in it or something, but your pneumo is still good. You can still shove that up through your hat into your into your hat, and then that's another source of air. So they're just showing us that there's multiple options in case something goes wrong. So yeah, and then pretty much that's it for the week. I mean, it was I kind of condensed that down to a shorter bit, but it was a really good week. We were a lot more hands-on this week. Like I said, Monday was a little bit more notes, and then most of the stuff was out on the barge, getting hands-on, seeing things, touching things. You know, it's better than just sitting death by PowerPoint. And then, like I said, I showed you all the gear in the last video. And hopefully there should be about 4 or 5 of us Monday going on our first dives. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that that's me. But if not, we have all week. And so I'm super excited for this upcoming week and getting some guys in the water. So that should be awesome. I'm excited to let you guys know next week about that. And then other than that, I think that's all that we really had going on this week. Yeah, so I appreciate you guys stopping by, watching. If you want to see some prior videos, go check them out. The last gear review is pretty cool. And yeah, so thanks a lot for stopping by. We will see you on the next one.